This is Biotecnika, and you're listening to India's first life science podcast, The Voice of Biotecnika.
A man of genius makes no mistakes. His errors are volitional and are the portals of discovery. Hello and welcome to another episode of Biotecnika podcast. This is Deepa Sharma, and I bring to you a discovery about a logic-defying material that has been created by scientists at the University of Leeds. This material thickens as it stretches. We know that when conventional materials such as steel bars and rubber bands are stretched, they become thinner. Well, auxetic materials on the other hand get thicker. Materials that exhibit auxetic capabilities do exist in nature. Notable examples are such as cat skin, the protective layer in mussel shells, and also tendons in the human body. Specialists have been actively researching synthetic auxetic materials for more than 3 decades, but until now, they have only been able to create them by structuring conventional materials using complex engineering processes including 3D printing. These processes are not only time-consuming and expensive, but they can also result in weaker and porous products. Scientists at the University of Leeds have discovered a material that thickens as it is stretched. It is the first ever synthetic material that thickens at a molecular level as it stretches. This infers that when stretched, the material becomes thicker perpendicular to the applied force. Dr. Devesh Mistry and colleagues at the University of Leeds discovered this novel non-porous material. Dr. Mistry is the principal author for this research. This research was undertaken while Dr. Mistry was completing his PhD at the University of Leeds School of Physics and Astronomy. Their discoveries are published today in Nature Communications. According to Dr. Devesh Mistry, who led the research, the new non-porous material which has been discovered by researchers has inherent auxetic stretching properties. Auxesis refers to the growth in animal or plant tissues resulting from an increase in size of a cell without cell division. This yet-to-be-named material was discovered while scientists were studying the liquid crystal elastomers and their properties. Liquid crystals are primarily known for their use in cell phones and televisions and have both solid as well as liquid properties. When combined with polymer chains into rubber-like networks, they have wholly new properties and applications. Dr. Mistry from the School of Physics and Astronomy at Leeds stated, "This is a really exciting discovery which will have significant benefits in the future for the development of products with a wide range of applications. This new synthetic material is inherently auxetic on the molecular level and therefore it is much simpler to fabricate and avoids the problems usually found with engineered products. However, more research is required to exactly understand how they can be used." He further stated that conventional materials such as rubber bands and steel bars become thinner when they are stretched. Auxetic materials, on the other hand, get thicker. Auxetics are also great at absorption of energy and resisting fracture. Potential applications for materials with these properties may include architecture, body armor, and medical equipment. Furthermore, Mistry said, auxetic materials are known particularly for their shock-absorbing, tear-resisting, or fracture-resisting properties. So, we are checking out those areas of application such as sports devices or next-generation sportswear or biomedical devices or protection. Now, the question that arises in our minds is, how does a material thicken when it is stretched? Yes, auxetics are materials or structures that exhibit a negative Poisson's ratio. They can be crystals, single molecules, or a specific structure of macroscopic matter. Their thickening is caused because of their particular internal structure and the way this is deformed when the sample gets loaded uniaxially. The term oxatic comes from the Greek word oxatikos, which means that which tends to increase. For example, auxine is a plant metabolite which is responsible for the growth and direction of growth of the organism. Oxatic materials are the materials that can expand counterintuitively rather than contracting to an applied stretch perpendicularly, and are therefore described by negative Poisson's ratios. During the years, oxatics have been indicated to have improved mechanical properties such as absorption of energy and indentation resistance over common materials, and interesting geometrical properties, for example, synclastic curvature. Positive Poisson's ratio materials have led to the creation of current synthetic oxatics by carefully configuring porous geometries. Remarkably, their geometry triggers the oxaticity. Accordingly, oxatics promise for applications in an array of industries including aerospace, sports equipment, and architecture and biomedical materials. Oxaticity has been exhibited in a range of naturally occurring and synthetically created structures and materials. In nature, oxaticity has been manifested in crystalline materials, for example, 69% of cubic metals, alpha cristobalite, and plentiful of the zeolite class of materials. In many of such materials, the oxatic behavior has been observed for stresses that are applied along specific crystal axis, that is, the oxaticity is anisotropic. Parallelly, a much broader variety of synthetic oxatics have been reported during the years. They are made up from materials such as spanning metals to rubbers, and with plenty of different structures such as reentrant honeycombs or cells, perforated sheets, and rotating units. Remarkably, structuring the porous geometries carefully from positive Poisson's ratio materials have given rise to the existing synthetic materials with oxatic properties. Fundamentally, it is thus the specific geometries of these materials which results in the oxatic behavior. Current synthetic oxatics are therefore restricted by their necessary porosity, which leads to weakening of the material as compared to the bulk. Hence, by the fact such structures must be engineered, for instance, by using resource-exhaustive additive manufacturing processes. In the recent years, production of non-porous two-phase composite oxatics have been shown by computer simulations. This could potentially work out the problem of weakening, which is due to porosity, and further operating porous oxatics via mechanisms of analogous deformation. However, practical realization of such two-phase composites is vital, and it still requires engineering of an oxatic-inducing geometry from positive Poisson's ratio materials. The development of a synthetic bearing intrinsic oxatic behavior has been a long-established goal for the oxatics community. Such porosity weakening would be avoided by molecular oxatics, and chemical tunability is further implied by their very existence. Nevertheless, up till now, synthetic and non-porous material having a negative Poisson's ratio has not been measured. Synthetic oxatic materials have been researched by specialists for years, but so far their creation has been possible only by modifying conventional materials using complex processes. This is a lot costly, time-consuming, and can even lead to weaker porous products. A major breakthrough for material science is thus the identification of a synthetic molecular version. Howbeit, more research is required to build a complete understanding of what propels this exclusive behavior. Possibly, the most promising material for displaying molecular exoticity are the polymeric liquid crystalline materials. Study of an array of polydomain main-chain liquid crystal polymers was made by He et al. And they observed a strain-induced increase in the polymer interchain separation via X-ray diffraction. This result was used to suggest the potential for oxidation behavior, although so far only positive values for Poisson's ratio have been noted in such materials. The discovery made by the researchers at the University of Leeds marks a major step forward which had baffled material scientists for more than 3 decades. Conventional materials had been used for the recreation of the oxalic stretching property which is found in human tendons and cat skin. This new material could get things rolling for commercially feasible products as its creation does not consist of high-priced complex engineering processes such as 3D printing. Accompanied by the ability to thicken while being stretched, materials with these properties may have many potential applications including architecture, body armor, and medical equipments. The identification of a synthetic molecular version is a major step forward for material scientists, physicists, and development companies. But researchers agree that further research is required to develop a complete understanding of what propels the oxidation behavior and how this behavior can be applied commercially. Liquid crystal elastomers are liquid part solid materials used in television screens and mobile phones. Mistry said, liquid crystals by themselves are perhaps well described as an ordered fluid. So you basically have molecules which have a rod-like shape and are packed together in a particular alignment. He further stated, the molecules have the ability to flow past one another, which is contrary to a crystalline solid, and thereby they act very much like a liquid. The material becomes oxalic at a molecular level when these liquid crystals are linked with polymer chains in order to form rubbery networks, thus providing it an entirely new set of mechanical properties. For instance, the materials show so-called soft elasticity, in which they can be stretched elastically without energy cost, stated Mistry. Co-author Professor Helen Gleason, Head of Physics and Astronomy at Leeds University, expressed, our results reveal a new use for liquid crystals after the televisions and flat-screen monitors that many of us are familiar with. This new synthetic material is a great model of what physics research and investigating the potential of materials such as liquid crystals can uncover. She further added, association between scientists with numerous areas of expertise and the wide-ranging technical facilities we have at Leeds make it possible to have this sort of exploration and discovery. The material was tested meticulously by the research team using the highly specialized instruments and also experts from the Leeds Electron Microscopy and Spectroscopy Center, LIMS. Professor Gleason added that they wanted to be sure the material wouldn't become porous or break down when stretched to its limits. LIMS is a suite of progressive shared experimental facilities at Leeds. It is also a part of the new Bragg Center of Materials Research, which is accessible for use by universities and other industries. One of the 6 focus areas of the Bragg Center is research into soft matter, such as liquid crystals. The center places engineers and scientists in proximity to combine applied science with scientific discovery to support industry in developing cutting-edge materials and thus enable novel devices, systems and applications. The researchers have given in a patent application for the novel material and are presently getting across with industry leaders about the consequent step. Thus, the voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Thank you all for listening. Keep tuning with Biotecnika podcast to learn more about the latest updates.
Should you have any questions, please comment below. Do not forget to subscribe to Biotecnika's YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with latest in BT sector.